Voting. The basic right of every citizen in a democratic country. For the past 20 years, Indonesia has elected its national leaders 4 times. First through parliamentary elections and then through direct popular votes. We also vote for our legislative representatives on the national and local levels. But for the first time in history, Indonesia is scheduled to hold both the presidential and legislative elections on the same day, Wednesday, April 17th. This is a huge responsibility on the independent body that runs the voting process, the General Elections Commission, or KPU. However, the Commission's legitimacy has been under heavy scrutiny mainly due to a number of cases suggesting the existence of alleged vote tampering. With the country's largest and most ambitious elections not that far off, we thought it would be noteworthy to explain how voting works, what the KPU is, and evaluate the allegations against them. Voting in Indonesia is an intricate process, mainly because the country's population reaches about 260 million individuals spread across 17,000 islands. The General Elections Commission, or KPU, has divided the areas into 80 electoral districts for the legislative elections and 272 for the regional election. Currently, there are about 192 million people registered in the Permanent Voters List, or DPT. And to be on that list, a person must be an Indonesian citizen, at least 17 years old, owns an electronic identification and family registration card, is not currently suffering from mental illness, and is not listed as officers of the police or the military. There are, of course, exceptions that will allow those not in the list to be able to participate in the elections, but they won't be registered on the DPT. Instead, they will be included in the Special Voters List, or DPK. Electronic ID card holders can manually register at their designated polling station and wait an hour before the voting ends to cast their ballots. And those with mental illness can obtain doctor's notes stating that they are mentally shaped to take part in the elections. Apart from casting our vote, we can also further participate by ensuring that the elections run smoothly. The Polling Station Working Committee, or KPPS, is obligated to check every voting equipment, including the ballots, the ballot boxes, and voting booths, as well as to be the extended hands of the KPU to help carry out the entire voting process, including tallying up the votes. But as responsible citizens, we can help the committee oversee the whole process from A to Z to make sure that each step of the election is not flawed. The KPU was formed in 1999, and back then it consisted of 53 commissioners from government officials and political parties. Through many processes, the most recent KPU commissioners only consist of 7 non-partisan individuals, with Arief Budiman leading the commission since 2017. Before becoming a commissioner for the KPU, candidates have to go through 3 layers of selections. First, the president forms a selection team to process and nominate 14 candidates. Then, they are sent to the president for approval, before being screened and approved again by the House of Representatives. The House then passes 7 out of the 14 candidates to the president to be inaugurated into the KPU. The KPU commissioners serves a 5-year term to both conduct and later evaluate election processes. The KPU consists of 3 levels, the highest being central, followed by provincial and regional. The provincial KPU is responsible to run legislative elections, while the regional KPU runs mayoral or district elections. As a body, its job includes collecting data, determining the political parties involved in the elections, setting the number of House seats available for the period, and also tallying up the votes. To make sure the election process runs accordingly, the KPU is monitored by the Elections Supervisory Board, or Bawaslu. Bawaslu's job is to supervise every step of the elections, receive and report alleged violations during the election process, as well as resolve any disputes over the election, aside from the final tally. That authority lies with the Constitutional Court. But even with all these filters, the KPU still struggles with maintaining the population's trust. The KPU has been challenged by many allegations of vote tampering, aimed to harm their credibility. These include a viral video in Medan, North Sumatra that showed a mass of people protesting over tampered votes. Another one is the alleged discovery of 7 containers from China found in Jakarta's Tanjung Priok port that were filled with tampered ballots. There were also allegations that the KPU were distributing electronic identification to foreigners to influence the elections. Now, all of these allegations were already debunked by the KPU. First, the viral video were taken out of context. It was actually recorded during the North Tapanuli 2018 regional elections, where the masses were unhappy with the results. And about the mystery containers, the KPU said they never found any proof of them. The person responsible for the fake news, Bagus Bawana, has already been arrested, and as of this moment, he is currently undergoing trial. Then last but not least, foreigners with the permanent residence permits are actually allowed to own electronic IDs by law, but they are not allowed to vote and are not even supposed to be on the permanent voters list. And while yes, there was a small number of foreigners on the list, the KPU had rectified this mistake and informed Bawaslu as well as the public. Although those accusations of fraud have been proven wrong, some people out there seem to never stop making attempts to cripple the KPU's credibility for the sake of the so-called justice. But real justice only works when people power walk side by side with the power of law enforcers. So, for the sake of peaceful and successful elections, as responsible citizens, our job is to monitor its process and file reports to the authority when the real hocus pocus takes place.